Three, two, one, recording. What's going on, man?
What's up, bro? I saw that no password protect. I was like, ooh, scandalous. He's like, we're
Ooh.
trying to like catfish some people, get some strangers on board.
I did have, there was, for everybody listening, this is my buddy Trey Carney, who I went to high school with, played basketball with in middle school. His major third hip hop. I
Major
think,
third now. We're
uh,
working on the brand. Major dot
okay.
third.
Okay, major dot third. All right, changing it up.
You like that? Less words, more to the point.
I
But you
like
had
it.
to go with the dot, right? That was the thing.
Major dot third. You
Yeah.
could do like major dot Trey dot MP3. Yeah, I don't know, but I like. I mean, I do. When I looked at a liquor store, I used to play it on the speaker system. I fucking love your work. And for everybody listening, I'll put it in the description. Sticky in the top comment. It's legitimately. I wouldn't say it if I didn't mean it because I've known you long enough that I could just be like, yeah, yeah, it's okay. I legitimately rock it. I bump it. It's some of my favorite music. I think you're one of the most talented rappers I've ever heard. No bullshit. Um, that may not mean a lot for me because I don't exactly have some I don't have like a record label. I'm just like, hey Trey, I think you're the best, and you're jerking me off like I like your podcast. And
I
but
was gonna do that.
yeah, well, good. It's a fucking jerk session. Um, but yeah, no, dude, I did have someone try to like join a meeting last week while I was talking to someone else, and I had no idea who it was. I've never seen the name before. It was David Sidney.
It makes you wonder, right? Like maybe there's just some automated people out there, like it's just running through the numbers. It's just trying
Trying to
sequentially a bunch of
join.
different numbers.
Maybe, but yeah,
Or even scarier would be like somehow you sent someone the number and then they were able to see that. That's almost scarier, actually.
maybe. I don't know. And frankly, I don't give a shit. Um,
My sister actually, I mean, works at our high school, right? For the listeners, she told me a funny story where like there was like a student passed out the password, because it's like the class will be password protected, but like someone in the class can like leak it to someone else. Well,
mhm.
actually, I think they thought it was a student, and he ultimately was off the hook, but there was like a penis involved. You know what I mean? There was like a stranger, like a
Oh,
flasher.
oh,
And so it was like a hilarious story. But when she pitched it to me, I was like, yeah, it was clearly that kid. But I don't think she thought it was, and ultimately I don't think he got in trouble. But there was like one too many coincidences for my liking. I won't go into the full story because I kind of don't remember it. But let it be known that there was like a kid in the class that was kind of like the troublemaker kid, right? And it seemed like maybe he had done this thing where given the password of the class out, and someone had like streaked for the class, and just
oh,
imagine,
on like Zoom.
yeah, yeah, just imagine, like I
Oh,
think it was Miss Blackburn. You remember her? I
I
probably
remember
shouldn't
that.
say that.
Remember that.
Shit.
Remember that. Yeah, it doesn't matter. Um,
Mrs. White Melt, Mrs. White Melt, something.
Mrs. White Milf. Do you remember? I don't think I should probably just never mind. I'll just avoid that topic entirely. Never mind. I was trying to tiptoe around something, and I was like, anyone that remotely knows where we went to school, anyone that went there would be able to deduce it. So I'm just
Yeah,
going
yeah,
to sidestep that entirely. Um, I guess a more serious note. Rest in peace, Trey Ellis,
yeah.
who went to school with Trey and I. I didn't know Trey very well. I can remember his face, but it's very odd, right? Because around this time last year was Maddie Daniker, who, like Trey, I didn't go to middle school with, but I remember from like basketball camp we went to high school with. Same with, and then later in 2020, Jonathan Stanton, and now I guess in the last week, Trey Ellis. It's very odd that and none. I would probably say I knew Maddie the best. I'm still friends with his brother, but it's very odd because like mortality is kind of it's creeping over the edges now. It's starting to move a little closer,
Yeah,
right?
for sure.
It's very odd. It's I don't know. I don't know how that's made me feel. Little I wouldn't say scary. I don't know. How do you feel about it?
It definitely, yeah, I don't know about scary. I mean, definitely ties in some ways with just all of the things like baby things or marriage things or like death things. So the fact that when you're, like the far end of the extreme, right? When I was in maybe third grade, there was a girl who went to my middle school, and she passed away in like a horse riding accident.
Mhm.
right? And on that end of the spectrum, it's incredibly tragic, you know what I
Mhm.
mean? Life shattering for the family. Like
Yeah.
everyone is, supporting and crying and all this stuff. And then something kind of weird happens where like, that's because we were so young. And then as you get older, I mean, it's still tragic, but it's just like it's like, oh, like, it feels like it's part of what
Yeah.
has to happen in some sense more so than.
Yeah.
And the same again with these, to tie something that is happy to it would be like babies and marriage, right? So just like, because I hopefully am so far from these things, I mean, you can't speak to death, but definitely not trying to be married or have a kid soon, right?
No.
When you see that, for me, I always try to fight I feel like maybe a little jaded, you know what I mean? Like a little like, oh, like what are these people? Like, is this, but like that's just part of life. And in some sense, we are getting up there, right? It's not weird for someone to be
Yeah.
getting married at this age, even as much as it might seem weird to me, right? So
Not
yeah, I
not
don't know.
getting not getting married at this age, dude. I was gonna say most of the people I know that are married got
Have kids.
married like couple years out of college. Like they're doing their 5, 6 year anniversaries now.
My jaded take on that would be that there was like a like a fashionable thing to it, right? Like back in the day, you got married real early, like real fucking early, right? Like 22. Then it started pushing back further and made it probably like at its peak, the oldest, I don't know what the average might have been, maybe 35 or something, let's just say for numbers. And then it felt like it started coming back the other way. Like it was like almost like, no, this is fun.
Yeah, yeah. It's right. It's I won't say his name, but it's someone I think you went to middle school with. Man, I fucking hate this like weird like CIA name drop we have to go around. You know, Ed,
Yeah,
uh,
sure, sure, sure.
the
I
guy with
like
like
it. Yeah, we could,
the guy with 12 abs.
right. Yeah, we could get each other to know who we're talking
Yeah,
about
yeah,
without
yeah,
dropping
yeah.
them off. Just got to be sneaky.
Yeah, he I remember hanging out with him at David's apartment like last semester of college, and I was
Yeah,
like getting ready to go to I was doing med school application. No, I was getting ready to go to interview at I think Miami for med school. And I remember talking to him and he was like, "Well, man, he's like you've got the grades, you've got the test score, you've got the he like read my personal statement." And he goes, "Just make sure you have an answer as to why you want to do it now." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Well, he goes, after middle school you go to high school, after high school you go to college. Are you just doing this because it's the next thing? Or
mm,
is this like what you want to do now?"
mm.
And I never really thought about that. And I was like, yeah, that's intense. And that's something that's always stuck out in my mind is like, is this what you want to do now?
Right.
And I've always kind of viewed everyone I know that got married after college as just, it was
The
the
next
next
thing.
thing, right?
But
You
that
go to,
just being jaded, that's how I feel, and I'm admitting it to the public now, but I try my best to, like, hold that judgment, you know?
I don't. I've, I've just, well, I guess I've realized that it's just me. And I'm sure that if there were two of our married friends having conversations, it'd be like, yeah, look at those two losers. They're still single. They still think the best is ahead of them. They're probably just
Right.
as jaded to us. So
Yeah, okay.
I think it's
Yeah.
an opinion because deep down, you and I both know that that's right for them. They got married. It's because that was right for them.
Yeah, I
Whether
mean, some of them I am more likely to accept because I know maybe more about it, and so it's like, I do feel more like, "Oh, that does make sense." But then it's just the sheer numbers, that's what it really comes down to, Tommy, that's what we're really talking about here, is, like, getting older where it's hard to separate, like, again, this tragic thing that happened, like the
Mhm.
first death I ever encountered,
Yeah,
to like when it starts spiking in numbers, you don't know how to feel because it has to be this way. You have to know more people that die later on in your life than before in your life. You have to know people getting married. You have to know people having kids. That's just how it goes down. And on an individual basis, you're like, I don't know, like, like you don't know how to feel about each one, and it's just the collective. I remember having a few bad days, to be honest, and then always like try to resist the urge to get on fucking social media within minutes of waking. I'd be having a bad day, had a bad day the day before, wake up, get on social media, see like two fucking engagement rings.
and just
You know
be
what I
like,
mean?
"Fuck
How do you
off,
think that made me feel? Ah! You know what I
fuck
mean? Like,
off, just stupid fucking yeah,
yeah. So
yeah,
like, and then I'm like, but why though? Why am I saying this? Is this real? Like I need to wait until like half of these people are divorced and then I can be vindicated. Like,
yeah,
yes,
I was
fucking
right."
told you.
Yeah, I found yeah. You're right. I remember when I was in 5th grade, a girl in my class who went to high school with us, her brother was in 3rd grade, I think,
Mm,
and he had an aneurysm and
yeah,
died at school.
I know who you're
And
talking
I
about.
remember yeah, and I remember that, and I mean, I remember, like yeah, I was 11. I remember crying for, like, 2 days straight because it and I'm all the parents were crying because it was like, "This this doesn't happen." Like, a cute little nine-year-old kid doesn't just drop dead from severe brain hemorrhaging,
Right.
but that's what happened, right? And it's an insane tragedy. But I guess as we get older now,
Mhm,
I mean, I'm biased. I'll like, my brother, I'll always view, like, a suicide as a tragedy,
mhm,
but other stuff, I don't I think you kind of just it's like now that for me, I'm 31 in August,
mm.
I think as soon as there's a 3 in front of it,
Yeah,
at
that's
least
fine.
in my weird, like, autistic mind,
Yeah.
I'm just like, "Ah, now you're in this, like, safe zone to die," and we just go, "Ooh, man," you know? "Yeah, I remember him too." Anyway, have you seen the new Xbox? Like, it's just and I don't mean to be
Exactly.
jaded, I'm saying this as someone that's lost a sibling,
Yes.
but there's part of it that you almost you can't expend all of your emotional energy on it. You just
Yeah.
go, "Yeah, I mean, yeah, you know, you just it happens. It just
And you know what's
happens."
wild? What you just said was kind of what I was trying to say. You said it nicely, but it makes me think of this weird flip where when you're the young kid and like you said, you cried for 2 days, it's this immediate rush of emotion. But then 2 days later, you're like, "What's the new Xbox game?" Right?
You're like
It's like it's more like somehow shocking and devastating in this flavor,
it's superficial.
but then you move on in this intense way. Whereas now, I could do like what you just joked about, move on fairly quickly in this like way that is it jaded or is it just an accruing? But
It
it's
lingers.
actually the long term, the 2 days later where it really fucks with your head because it
But
becomes this like building existential
mhm.
walking towards the grave like darkness. So it's almost flipped. It's almost like the you know like a ripping of the band-aid, like an instantaneous pain that goes away immediately versus like this deep cut that you don't even feel, right? It's like so deep that your body doesn't even know. So you
Yeah.
start bleeding out. You know what I mean? That's kind of how it feels to me. And it's like
Yeah.
that's what's so freaky about it is that it's is like you know oh like oh another person from our grade died, you know what I mean, like it's even just that another in the in the front of it, you know, even if it's just one or two, the fact that it's happened multiple times. But the opposite, the long term thinking about like oh yeah like what does that mean, and the fact that we're talking about it now and like thinking about your own mortality, like I don't think when I was little, as tragic as it was, I was then actually going on to think about my immortality, right? This
No.
young girl died, it didn't translate over to like well I could die in an accident, you didn't have those thoughts, but
Yeah.
you were like more immediately impacted, and now
Yeah.
it's the opposite. It's very weird.
Yeah, it's this big overrushing emotions. It's over. It's, right? But it's like dropping an ice cream cone and you cry and then your mom gives you a new one and you're over. And then it's like we have cuz and versus now, yeah, right? When I find out about it, I'm just even from the distance between the first and the third,
Yes.
Maddie died. I mean, that really for like a week. Actually, I remember I think I had to like push back a podcast because I was like, man, this is like the first person I know in my grade that and I remember it just kind of sat with me. It was like the first big loss since my brother. And it was just like, I was like, man, all of a sudden, flashbacks like 6th grade basketball camp. Like I remember running into Maddie the first time I ever got like drunk. It was like ninth grade. I was at like a football game with Keen. And I remember walking around, I saw Maddie and I was just talking to him and he was like so cool about it. And like, you know, and like those kind of stuck in my when the second one came, Jonathan Stanton. I remember seeing it and I was like, oh man. And it was just I remember him, I remember like big jolly Stanton. I remember it was like I remember I'd always just, I'd just make these like perverted jokes and it was just like but even that was like maybe that was like a couple hours as opposed to like a full like 3 or 4 days with Maddie. Then with Trey, granted, I also knew these people in
Right.
descending order, not well enough, but with Trey, I was just like, wow, you know, and it. you know, it kind of sat in the back of my mind, and now it's popped up in a podcast. But you're right, it's not this overwhelming, "Oh my god," cry, but it is this sort of like, "Oh, it's just like
Mm,
another one, just another one."
mm.
You're kind of putting the cards face down, and you're like, "Oh, fuck," you
Yeah,
know?
and sometimes I wish I could, like, I wish I sometimes was a crier. Like, I wish I would cry about it. I wish I
Yeah.
could, like, put myself there and empathize on that level, right? I mean,
Yeah, but it's also like you can only know so many people so intricately,
yeah, sure.
right?
Yeah.
It's like, you can't you I don't think you can break down for all that, but it's in a really weird, fucked up way, I am finding, like, the positives in it. And I'll say this because I've said this a lot. My little brother says the same thing. Like, losing John was the single worst thing to ever happen, but it was also the single best thing to ever happen. To me, it was the ultimate, like, I had my midlife crisis at 23. I was like, "Oh, shit." And now, I mean, I kinda had the balls to be like, "Alright, I'm not gonna go to med school. Alright, I'm gonna fucking try to make this podcast work." Like, I was as opposed to having to, like that video I did, like, I sent to you, like, the work ethic one, the time will pass
Loved it,
anyway.
bro. Everyone
Yeah.
check it out. I loved
Thank
it.
you. Thank you. It's but those are ones where it's like I have to break down like the long sort of scheming gaming of like these long-term goals. Whereas losing my brother was like that wasn't one. That wasn't like if because if you notice, there's never been any like this is how I decided to take the plunge. There wasn't. That happened for me. I lost a sibling. I was like, well, life is transient. Better make these moves now. So there was no I didn't have to psych myself up for it. The decision was made for me.
Mm,
So and that's what my little brother said the same thing. He was like, "It's" he was like, I don't wait till, like, you know, I don't wait to make decisions now. I don't, you know, I wanna get engaged, I'm gonna get engaged. I wanna take this job, I'm taking this job. I wanna move there, I'm moving there because tomorrow's not guaranteed. In a way, I kind of view these losses of our classmates as, like I'm like, keep going. There's no like, okay, you know, podcast is doing so now. Maybe I'll wait a couple years and I'll circle around to it. I'm just like, dude, like there isn't, you know, am I gonna get to 2022?
right.
There's a lot of just like, go now, go now, right? It's yeah. So I don't know. I kind of like it in a weird, fucked up way.
Yeah, everything's like that, right? You know, you have to try to take the good with the bad. Um, yeah, man.
I wonder if there's like a lull,
A
like
lull in deaths, like, is there a young deaths and then
like
or
you get your young tragic.
yeah, I mean, I don't know any of the specifics of those 3 people, to be honest.
Me neither. I don't
I
know.
hate to admit that there was, like, some small gossiping that I definitely participated in with just different people, like, "Oh, what happened?" You know what I mean?
I had no idea. I still have no
Trying to
idea.
ask people.
I still have no
So,
idea.
yeah, so I don't wanna even try to speak to what it
No,
was,
and I'm
but I
not
think what you're saying makes sense that there could be some young ones, maybe some, you know, I mean, anything that's health related, you would expect to be older, right? Like the age would be older if it's health related. If it's an accident or, you know, something about your lifestyle or something like
mhm,
this,
sure.
then younger makes sense, right? But
Yeah, is there right?
I hope there's a lull, bro. I hope no one dies in our class anymore. You know
Yeah,
what I
because
mean?
'cause
But
we've had 3 in, like, 12 months. It's
yeah, it's fucked up. It's fucked up.
super not chill.
And I
It's
had one from college, and we had one from the grade below, you know, who went to middle school with me. I don't know if you
mhm,
remember that. That was an accident. I mean, you know, just fucking time's a bitch. You know what I mean?
yeah, but there's also, like, the same, like, you have the young tragic and then you have the norm. Like, we all know, like, a couple of girls that was, like, freshman year of college, they were pregnant, right? And
Right.
it's just what it I'm not by no means am I trying to like, you know, "Oh, you're pregnant before you're" no, I'm just like a couple that like I mean, come on, like they weren't planned, right? Whatever. It is what it is.
Right. Right.
And those are all like, "Oh, dude, did you hear so and so?" Like, dude, so like, whoo, like we're right out of high school. We're still I was 19 my freshman year. So it's like you're still
Right.
like an actual teenager.
Sure.
But now it's been 11 years, 12 years since college started. It goes from like I knew the first person I knew to have a kid, I
Right.
think
Now
was
everyone.
I think it was Taylor and
Yeah,
Alex, both
sure,
people
sure,
I've
sure.
known most of my life. And I was like, up there, I was like, there's the first to have a kid that like I know. And then it's like second, third, and now it's becoming the
Now
norm.
we're the weird ones, I feel
Now
like.
it's like, oh, ooh, Tommy and Trey. No, I don't actually, I don't even think they're engaged. I think they're both single. Like,
I think they're talking about jerking off on the
I think
internet.
they're jerking each other off. I think Trey's rapping, and I think Tommy has a podcast. But what they're both doing is screaming into the void. And it's like, okay, okay, yeah, but right, it's so maybe there's a we get a couple deaths. Well, then naturally, right, the rate of birth is going to have to slow down, right? I mean, that's just physiology, right?
I don't know. It does feel like there's an insane number where like I'm not even joking about us being in the minority,
No,
which
we are
that
now.
does
I would
freak
say
me
we
out.
absolutely are.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I don't know with births. That feels like with like for sure like being married or engaged. Um I don't know about with kids. I'd have to think about it. It feels like a lot of fucking people I know from around our time have like young kids,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I
Mm-hmm.
guess it's like how many kids are you gonna have as part of it?
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that I don't want kids. Do you want kids? I feel like I want kids. You know what I mean? But it's just like so like not immediately even close to like what I'm expecting or wanting. It's more of like this long-term fantasy where I could like see myself. Like I just want to like teach someone some shit. Like I just want to like, have my boy or my girl and like show her some like fucking crazy math shit and just like
Yeah.
try to like it's almost like you want to do what you wish was done to you in
Mm-hmm.
this weird way. That's kind of like this evolutionary thing. You want to like give them the gifts or instill upon them the lessons or like show
Yeah.
them the way in a way that you would have liked to have had happen to you,
I mean, what it is, it's like it's yeah, no, I think long term I would,
Mhm.
but like to me, I'm taking that Ed advice. I'm like, is it the next thing you're doing?
Right.
And I know that I can't have kids right now because that would just be the next thing I'm doing.
Mm.
Right now, my whole heart is in like, I want to build a podcast empire. And like, if I had a kid, I would be like a distant father. This kid would grow up, hopefully I get rich as fuck off the podcast. And he'd be like, I don't really remember my father. Like, we grew up in a nice estate that he built from his yes, no, I'm Bob Kerrigan of the Kerrigan name. It's like, oh yes. And it's like, I never saw him much. He was always interviewing people. Like, I think I would just be that. And, or at worst, the podcast fails and then I'm just like some deadbeat 8 Mile dad and he's going to
Right.
grow up rapping and he's going to be
Hey
Eminem. Then
man.
I was about to, he's going to be 8 Mile and then he's going to link up with you. But I think it's just not what I want right now.
Yeah.
And not only that, but the idea of like marriage and kids gives me like the willies.
Yeah. I mean, I think government-based marriage is stupid in the first place.
Yeah. It all
If you
kind
want to
of,
be there, then be there, right? The minute you're like obligated on this weird like tax-based level to be there, that just seems weird. Why would you do that?
I don't ever see me doing that.
It's just a giant money saving scheme.
I have no. Why do we need to get bureaucracy involved?
Yeah, it's weird,
I,
man.
I don't. I don't need to do it. Right. Our friendship doesn't need to be an LLC. Like we're just
And then the next
friends.
one down would be like a religious based one, which I also don't care to put much stock in, right? So
Yeah. Why
it makes
can't it just?
less and less sense the less you support those two institutions, the whatever church
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
U.S. government. It's like I'm not
Yeah.
fucking with either two.
I'm
Like,
not fucking with either of those, man.
you're not coming to my wedding, bro.
You're
You know
not
what I mean?
coming away. No, it's the church. It's like y'all are a bunch of pedophiles, and the government. It's like y'all are pedophiles too. And it's like I don't know if I want either of you guys around. But it's I think long off in the distance it is.
Yeah,
I think I'll have a kid when I'm like 40.
I think I've just thought about it for so long. Even when I was a kid, I was thinking about it again, just on this weird level of like sharing stuff with another person, right?
Teaching,
So
yeah.
as you get older, I don't know if that's just like a thing that I'll just always think, and then it becomes less and less reasonable or practical or possible, But oh, that would be cool. At some point you have to, I guess, like kind of put the pieces together to like try to make it happen. You know what I mean? So I don't know. It's weird to have. I don't know what something else like that. I guess like something with your job, you know what I mean? But just something that you kind of think of the far future for so long, but then as you approach the far future, it like changes this thought that you're so used to having where like, you know, you could be 10 years old imagining having kids. That's kind of weird, but at the same time, it's just so far away that it's like, it's inconsequential. You know what I mean? It's just like,
Yeah.
oh, one day. And but then as you're now, you know, I still have 6 months left here. I'm still 29. So I don't
No,
have the 3 yet, but I'm fucking dreading it for
you're
sure.
coming right down. Hey man, you're coming to the black hole.
Yeah.
And I can tell you on the other side of the event horizon, it's just the same shit.
Right.
For me, it's a very, I can't do it right now. And I've been trying to think of how to put a word to it for a while. And I don't know if I can still.
Mm.
But like it's like high school, like I still live with my parents, but like live with your parents. And it's like college, you get out, but it's like you still got to take all these courses. And it's like, what's your major? What do you know? And then you have like your dorms. And then I was in a frat house, and then I lived with friends, but you're still with people.
Mm.
Got
Right.
out, and then it was just this weird, I was like juggling kind of like, you know, the grief of losing my brother. And then it was like I moved home, and now I'm here. And it seems like I'm right on the cusp of this thing where it's like I'm going to be getting money for this podcast. This summer, I'm going to be moving out. And I'm at this weird, I'm coming to uncharted territory
Mm.
where I will not have debt. I will be my own boss. I
Mm.
schedule my own guests. I do them at my own rate. And I don't have any schoolwork to do. I don't have a boss to report to. And I don't have kids, pets, or a girlfriend.
Mm.
I'm coming to this area of like sandbox mode life
Mm.
where I'm going to get a 2-bedroom place. One of the rooms is going to be the podcast room. And I'm just going to do whatever I want. And like, I kind of feel like Richie Rich because it's just me. I'm not supporting anyone.
Yeah.
I have no
It's really cool.
debts, no pets. Again, no girlfriend, no kids, no boss. Hey, Tom, I really didn't like that last episode. Can we workshop it? No, that's built into my contract that no one can do that.
Mm.
I'm approaching this like, I don't know.
Right.
And part of me is like, if I have kids right now, I'll never be able to play in this sandbox of I don't know. And it's
Yeah.
taken me 30 and a half years to get to,
Right.
consciously trying to get to for the last 7. And I would say this has been infinitely more difficult than it's easier to become a doctor, in my opinion, from someone that got in. I can't say going through because I didn't go through med school. I'm sure my doctor friends would probably have a word with me. But
Sure.
getting into medical school was far easier than this.
Because there's a path. You're building your
There's
own
a
path right
path.
now. You're a fucking trailblazer, bro.
If you can just get X grades, you will get in. You got to
Yeah.
study hard, but you will get in.
Yeah.
There was no, like, you might not make it. And like, so I'm coming to this head, and like, it really is an event, and it's an event horizon.
Mm.
I think I talked to you about that one time. I was like, what would it be like if the sleepover didn't have to end?
Yeah,
I
we
think,
did something
yeah.
about that.
But see, I'm coming up on this like weekend that there's no Monday to.
Right.
I'm going to get my own place, do my own thing. Do
It's
I
cool as
want,
fuck, man. I gotta say, like, you know, not to blow too much smoke up your ass, but for sure,
dude,
it's
suck my
really
ass.
inspiring the way, like, I'll go the other way at the start. I was skeptical. I was like, what? How long is this podcast? How long is this solo pod? This isn't going to be engaging. And then just completely flipped by the end of it. I was engaged as fuck. I was tuned in. You give so much advice in this way where you are telling the story of how you found this thing and not about like, oh, turn it on, like you peons. Like, you know, it's very much like you finding this thing that you're talking about, this fourth dimensionality, this like do just as much, do the amount you can do on your worst day, right? There's so many fucking nuggets in there that I wanted to pull out where I'm like, did he write this down ahead of time? Like the whole, like the carrot or like the whatever. And it's like, I knew you were riffing, but at the same time, it was like, there were like moments where it was so obviously riffing. And then there were also moments where it was like fucking gold, where it's like almost like this strategy all together. And I was like, I mean, this is in some ways like some Goggins shit, because Goggins is for sure more like individually inspirational. Like if you need to like go on a run right now, then listen to Goggins, right? Not this thing. But this is like some life-changing shit where it really makes you think of things and it's like actually actionable, right? You're actually like giving keys. Goggins is basically just stay hard. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, if you want this shit, you gotta fucking buck up and like, stop complaining and pointing fingers and like, so that I do really connect with those type of things. But I also think the strategy of like tying it to something actionable where you're like, oh, like, yeah, buck up, but in the sense that there's like a way to do that. There's a way to ask of yourself something that you can always do, and you'll make progress because you're using this time dimension and the fucking chalk thing, bro, and the moving the sticks. Like there was just so many good things, but it was really inspiring, not only on a personal level, but also in exactly what you're talking about. This like this place you're reaching. You know what I mean? Because you're like the story of the thing you're talking about. You're not like a lot of these fucking a lot of these gurus get called out because they have all this advice they're slinging and all these things they're saying, and they didn't even really do it, right? Their version of doing it was telling other people to do it. So their success came from just like preaching success. It's this really weird like feedback loop, circular logic where you're like, I don't know if I trust you. Like I guess you're like a rich person, but like you just like got rich by like telling other people to rich people. You know what I mean? There's like a lot of fucking fuckery going on. And so it was so kind of like just organic and like the opposite of that I thought it was really beautiful. And I think it's really fucking cool that you're at that point. I would love to be at that point. I'm still 60 stacks in debt. So like I can only imagine. I'm like, oh man, like just keep going down this road. I mean, it'll pay off. And I do enjoy being in school because you can kind of hide from this
Yeah.
sandbox in a little bit, right? In some sense, it's exciting, and I would like to be there, but you also can just kind of like pretend. The longer you're a student, you can just kind of like in some way put it off, but in a way that doesn't look bad or isn't
Yeah.
really bad for you. You're more like delaying it, not
Yeah.
putting it off. You're sort of just like extending the amount of time that's reasonable to get there. But man, I think it's really fucking cool. And again, like everybody check that shit out because you're not a believer, but like it flipped because I was like, hey, is this whole thing gonna be something I really want to enjoy? I'm just gonna be honest, and it was. It fucking was, bro. It was great, and
Uh,
I loved it.
I appreciate it for everyone. What Trey's talking about, a solo rant I did like 2 weeks ago. I just called it fourth dimensional work ethic, and it was a riff. It was, but side note, whenever I send you something, never feel obligated to watch the whole thing. I just send it to you because it made me think of you. It
No,
wasn't like Trey,
I
watch it.
would think, yeah. No. I mean, it was one of those things where when you're busy, you're like, oh, he sent it
Yeah,
to me.
yeah,
Probably
yeah, right,
means
right,
he
right.
knows I'll like it. Like, I don't think he's just like fishing. You know what I mean? I know you're not at all that type of person. Like this, like
Like Trey, give me a like, share, and
yeah,
subscribe. It's like,
right,
yeah,
exactly. So I never get that vibe from you. So no, it was more just like I didn't even respond, and I even did this psychopathic thing that I do where like I didn't even open the text because I wanted the fucking red dot and the blue dot to be there so I wouldn't fucking forget. Like if I
that's what I
opened
do.
it,
That's what
you know
I
what I
do.
mean?
Yeah,
But
that's what I
it
do.
feels crazy because I'm
No,
so
it doesn't.
OCD about it. Like normal people, I've noticed almost everyone around me has hundreds of unread emails. I have exactly zero unread emails. Like I
Why?
refuse
Why would I
to allow
have?
that thing to build up. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I do, it's because I leave something unread because to me, I am that serious about replying to it.
Yeah, exactly.
So when I go
Some
into my
people do that. They're
emails,
just like, I use
well,
it like, it's either all or nothing. It's like, fucking
yeah,
click that
yeah,
shit.
yeah. No, I keep unread text because I'm like, when I open it, I'm going to respond it. Because once I open it, if I don't respond to it, it's like going back to sleep without an alarm. It's like, dude,
Exactly.
it's a black hole and it's never
Exactly.
going to come up again.
Exactly.
So no, I don't give a fuck, dude. But yeah, it's very weird. It's very odd seeing it kind of work. But I think another huge thing about that is when there's days that I kind of get down,
Hmm.
I go back and I look at it and I'm like, look at episode 1 to now, and I'm like, it's one of those cheesy fucking quotes, but it's like from day to day, nothing seems to change. But when you look back at the years, it's like unrecognizable,
Sure.
right? It's day to day. The difference between yesterday and today, I'm like, I'm probably a little fatter. Like, I'm like, I don't know, like, I I took a Benadryl to sleep, so I'm super groggy today. Like, not much. Well, if you go to yesterday and you're like, what's the difference between that day and that day? And you kind of, but next thing you know, it unfolds to you're like, wow. You look back and it's like now 3 classmates are dead.
Mm.
And college was, I finished college 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's like, whoa. I've now spent more time out of college than I did in high school, in college, and college.
That's
Like,
wild.
it's
That's wild.
but it plays into what it does play into is I remember when you and I did that episode, it was kind of like the original fourth dimensional work ethic. It's I
Mm.
did it with you and we kept talking about the time will pass anyway.
Yeah, I like to think that I was involved in some of the early
You
seeds of
absolutely
thought that
were.
went into this amazing solo pod. It was refined. It was clear that you'd been thinking about it much more than just from that. You know, I mean, that's what was so great about it. I was like,
It
I kind of
it
have a
wasn't
whiff of the inception of this. I think.
it there was no planning that. It
Mm,
that's why I do solo rants is because I start and I don't know where it's gonna go.
right,
It's like a it's like firing off a bottle rocket and I took off one of the four fins.
right,
And it's
right,
like
right.
I don't know which way it's going. But no, you have helped a lot with the inception of it.
Mm,
And the original one you and I the original
yeah,
one you and I did is it's I mean you're smarter than me, so I'd say you're like the Tony Stark to my and I yeah I was always a meathead, so I guess I'm more of the Bruce Banner. You're the Tony Stark to my Bruce Banner, and it's like Avengers: Age of Ultron. You
okay.
know when they're I don't know if you've seen that one, but they go in together
Definitely.
and they're like making the AI, and they're like we need to unleash Ultron on the world, and Bruce Banner's like I don't know man, and Tony puts his hand on his shoulder and he goes we're mad scientists, bro, own it.
Yeah,
And that's how I feel when I talk with you. It's like the static starts and I start having these like but like with that, I remember the first thing that we kind of coined was the time will pass anyway.
hmm
And I remember every day I would like text you. I'm like, it's been 24 hours. And I was
yeah,
like, it's been 48 hours. I was like, Trey, it's now been 1 week. And it's
yeah,
like, I remember like the next week, I remember like walking into work. I was like, it's been 2 weeks, Trey. And, but I kind of started saying that to myself now where I'm like, it's been 3 weeks. It's been 5 weeks. And it's the whole thing about it is when you start to plan these long-term things, they just seem so distant that you're like, I can't even begin to start. It's just so far away. And then the next thing, and this is what we were saying in that episode in September.
yes,
And next thing you know, I mean, again, it's like going to sleep without an alarm.
right,
Just one more minute, one more. Fuck, it's 9:30. Oh
yep,
shit, class started at 8. It's it just kind of and then it's you're here. And now it's like we did that episode in September. It's February now.
right.
Like it really so like what do I have to show for it? I think I've added 200 more episodes.
Yeah,
Like
man, it seriously happened so fast where it seemed like you killed it in this stretch where I think you mentioned that in the pod though, right? Where you were like, I did actually overdo it. You admitted to that,
uh-huh.
and then you talked about slightly curbing it, and
Mhm.
that as being one of the examples of like, do what's you do
Yes.
on your worst day. Don't do this crazy shit. Don't risk burning out
Mhm.
to not meet your goals. You know what I mean?
And a matter of fact, is that happened over the last like 7 days or so. I started doing
Even
like
even just the last
I
7.
just yeah, since the fourth dimensional video. I started doing a lot and I was like, I want to get to 400 episodes so badly. And it just seems so far away. And I was like 320. Now I'm at 331. If I do 3 tomorrow, I'm at 330. And I was doing so hard. And after like 5 days, like it seemed like the number barely budged, but I was just broken mentally. I was like, I don't want to fucking talk to anyone. I don't want to fake some conversation. I was like, I don't want to talk about UFOs or AI or Trump or aliens. I was like, I don't fucking want to talk about any. So I took a couple of days off, and then it turns out that the huge crash course of episodes I did, followed by the number of days off, it all equaled out to about one a day. And I was like, why the
Right.
fuck did I
Why did
even
I
do
try
that?
that?
So, but yeah, is but now here we are at episode 346. And it's just slowly chugging along. And right now, I have all these visions for where I want it to go, and it all seems so far away. But it's just dragging the stick and just adding to the pile. I'm like, just do another one, just do
Yep.
another one, just do another one, do another one, and just and that's where I'm hoping it goes. And true to
Hell yeah.
form, is it always sounds great in hindsight, but this is a I guess a peer into the present of it. Is it's just miserable and anxiety inducing, and I'm like, it's never gonna fucking work. This is what it feels like in the moment.
Well, that's what I love because if you did the same pod, if someone did the same pod, you could like make it just like so cliche. Like it was such a clear true thing that you were saying, and it was so real. Like the one that comes to mind was just, how do you eat an elephant?
Mm-hmm. One
One
by
bite
one.
at a time. One
Yeah.
bite at a time. So it's the same thing. It's like we've been saying this shits forever as a world. You know what I mean? Everyone knows this idea you're preaching, but you're not on there like Gary Ving it as some emotional shit. You're like telling your story. You're saying what worked for you. You're painting the picture, and that's why it swung so violently from like skepticism about how it was to like me being completely committed. And I was like, well, it's over. Like I was having fun. And then and then the other thing exactly tied to that, what you just said, was that even the last 7 days for you, and that again ties you to Goggin, which is he's like, sometimes I'm a bitch. You know, he's like the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's like,
Yeah.
I look at my shoes. Like he talks about like
I don't want.
still
I don't
he's the
want to work
baddest
out.
man on the fucking planet, and
Yeah.
he'll not want to go out for a run. You know what I mean? So like exactly how you
Yeah.
said, you can paint the story, but you're still in the thralls of it because we're all in the thralls of it. Everyone who's saying they're not is basically lying. You know, again, these like gurus that like paint it as this all figured out thing, you know. And maybe there's something to like you know, kind of like an idealistic version of something that maybe is a little mocked up, but it gives you, you know, a vision board, a vision quest. But I think it's so much better to just to be real about it and paint all this picture and all this good advice, and then immediately be like, yeah, and I'll probably fucking break my own advice tomorrow, because again, that's part of what I'm saying, is that the whole thing is that you're always in it, and that's why this is so key, and that's why this is such a good strategy, and it's so important to try to think of it this way, you know.
Yeah. Just the slow. So I've never paid for anything on Patreon, but I've had to do it for Tim Dillon, who I just
Okay.
think is the funniest mother. I was gonna say real quick, I was thinking what you said earlier about Complete 180, about those like motivational speakers that they've made money by talking about making money.
Yeah, yeah,
I remember hearing that on Rogan years ago. He's talking about Tony Robbins. He was like, I mean, the guy is clearly successful, but he's got successful talking about being successful.
yeah.
And it's maybe if you want to be a motivational speaker, listen to them. But
Right.
like it doesn't really translate into the real world. But so that being said, so Tim Dillon, who I think is the funniest human being who has ever lived, ever. And he's been on Rogan several times. That's where I discovered him. And I finally went, because he only does one episode a week. So I finally went to his Patreon because he does like an extra one a week. And he just has this whole archives. And I've been listening to Tim Dillon nonstop for like probably like 14 days now. I mean,
Mm,
several episodes a day. I
mm.
cannot stop listening. But what you were saying about Gary Vee, I actually screen recorded this like 2 hours ago. And well, my channel's not monetized, so I can't get yanked. But it's him talking about, because Gary Vee was like tweeting during like the riots last summer, but it
Okay.
was these very like arbitrary.
The riots for like BLM or
Yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah.
okay,
And it was, but it was these very politically neutral. But
sure,
what it was is like he still had to stay relevant. So
sure.
he was like, evil always exists, and you must fight it everywhere you find it. And Tim Dillon was like, let's break that down. That doesn't actually mean anything. Like he didn't say anything. He stayed very moderate.
Yeah.
So this is a 40-second clip of him talking about what happens when the protesters break into Gary Vaynerchuk headquarters.
Okay, I'm excited.
Fuck.
Looters have overtaken Gary. Yeah, looters have broken into Vanier Media and they have held Gary Vanderpoint at gunpoint and forced him to tweet something real. They're like, Gary, tweet something real or we're gonna burn this place fucking down. Gary's just standing there. He's like, all right, how about this? Effort plus energy. They're like, no, motherfucker, something real. He's like, okay. He goes, fear is what you feed. No, Gary, something real. They're just standing around. They're dousing him with kerosene. Yeah. They're like, you're about to burn to death if you can't say one fucking real thing. And then Gary just says, hustle. And they just light him on fire. Goodbye, everyone.
I'm sorry if you didn't find that as funny as I did. I have been in tears laughing at that all morning. I
Yeah,
built it up as this amazing thing. I don't know if you liked it as much as me.
I was enjoying it. Tim Dillon's ability to call out bullshit is like on some next level shit. It
It's
really is.
insane.
Because he's like a very smart guy, but he's also very kind of
Nihilist.
cynical in a way, but like still upbeat. He has like a
Yeah.
positive kind of vibe and like a, you know, a joyful kind of jolly personality, but like very tied to cynicism in this kind of interesting way. And then also, I really do think, I mean, I'm sure I've heard Rogan say it a million times, so I'm just parroting him. I really do think the fact that he's gay is this kind of interesting extra layer
Yeah.
that pushes him over the edge to be more confident and like able to say things that like you know, a white straight man would be a little more timid or a little more worried about getting pushback on.
Yeah.
Kind of has a little bit of a free pass in a sense, you know. It's pretty amazing. He's pretty
Yeah.
fucking amazing.
And by all means, hey, let me know when you have to go, because I know you said you have a ton of shit. I'm gonna keep talking, but I just don't want to hold you. So just
I
let
would
me
love
know.
to go as long as possible, bro. It really is just this thing where I think we
Yeah,
planned this
I
on
don't give a
Thursday,
fuck. I don't give a
and
fuck.
then I
Just
woke
don't.
up on Friday and it was like,
I don't give.
oh, like you have all this new shit to do.
I don't give a fuck. Just tell me when, man.
Yeah. I'm gonna try to just not think about it, to be honest, bro. I've been studying hard for the last
Oh,
couple weeks.
okay. Okay.
Just
All
to
right.
get
Yeah.
better.
No, we don't have to think about it. Yeah. No, that's just because I never shut up, and you're very nice, and I don't want to hold you hostage. So just whenever you got to go. Yeah. So, but no, it's great because, and it's not even, yeah, right. Because he's not this like kind of, he's not the archetype of like the gay guy, right? He's
Exactly.
just not even like the moderately gay guy. He's like the last, if you just took out the things of him talking about like sex, like you would never even know. But
Exactly.
because he is, it's like when he's talking about like Airbnb, he's like those sexless dykes. And he goes, by the way, I'm gay. I can hate you for who you are. And he's like, you can't bring that shit at me. And it does. It takes a whole nother, because he's brilliant. He is legitimately an intelligent guy.
Sure, for sure.
And he's completely black pilled. And he like backs everything up with like sources, though. He's not just like it's all fucked. He's just listing off all the CIA operations, the paying off, the umbrella banks. He's like, this is how it works. This is how these people move. He's like, they're all Machiavellis. He's like, they're demons dressed in human skin suits. And he's going on. But then there are these little moments of like, he's like, I'm finally making some money on my career. He's like, I buy like lunch once a week for all like the nurses at like the hospital, because I know they're working like double shifts every day and have been for a year.
Right.
And he's like, I fucking hate them all. They're all a bunch of TikToking dykes, and I hope a bomb hits that hospital, but I'll buy him Taco Bell. It's just like, you don't really know what to make of it, but I can't stop listening to it, man. I'm almost kind of scared that I'm going to start like parroting him, because
Sure.
like I've stopped listening to audiobooks. I just listen to Tim Dillon. And like, there's something about it that what it is I think more than anything is it's when I listen to it, I'm like, that's what I want to be this engaging. That's what it is.
Mm.
I want to be whatever I am. But when I listen to him, I can't stop listening.
Yeah.
Like I'm just like 5 more minutes. I'm like, I can't stop listening. And like to the point where like I've never put anything on Patreon, because I'm like, I just want my shitty episodes to be available to as many people as possible. And I don't want to put up a paywall, because I think that will ultimately inhibit my channel's growth. And I'm like, man, if Tim Dillon had just put more of his work out there, I wonder if he'd be. And I just thought, like, no, I could only go through all of his YouTube videos before I was like, I need more. And I was just like, yeah, all right, I'm going to fork out for it. Like, it's $5 a month. I'm going to fork out for it. But listening to him, I'm like, that's what I want to be. I want to be that engaging. Like, I know I'm just sitting here sucking his dick, but
no, he's the perfect storm, right? He's like if Alex Jones was gay and like a lot funnier and like a lot more in touch. You know what I mean? Like a lot more in touch with sort of the norms of the populace, you know.
If Alex
He still
Jones,
knows all that shit. He still has all that depth of knowledge and like will just rattle shit off like a fucking
he's a refined Alex Jones.
Yeah.
He's Alex Jones. It's the new iPhone, right? Steve Jobs comes out and he's like, Tim Dillon. He's like 40% more intelligent. He's like cites all the sources. Sense of humor, comes in gay, comes in gay flavor. Can introduce a lot of things. And it's like on a whole new flavor. And you're like, okay, but it's a refined Alex Jones. And it's just, I am worried. I'm worried that maybe I'm going to destroy my podcast, because all I talk about is Tim Dillon now.
You'll go balls deep for a while, and eventually you'll dial it back a little. I think that would happen naturally.
I think what's going to happen is I'm going to burn through his archives.
Sure.
And then I'll be forced to just do one a week.
I mean, I'm sure if someone had listened to as much Rogan as me, then I would probably just be like a Rogan robot secretly.
Mhm.
I mean, and talk about like, you know, being caught up in something and not stop listening. People don't even believe when I say this, right?
No,
Because I
I
was able to do so much. I literally listened to like, I want to say around 900 in a row, right?
mhm.
Somewhere around 330 to 1230 or so. Every single episode. There was one that I bailed on, and I know the exact fucking one because that's how adamant I was. It was this lady who was talking about like chiropractoring. You know what I mean? It was the only one I was like, I'm not into this. And I tapped out every fucking moment of 900 times 3 hours. You do the math, people. It's way too much time. Granted, I got used to listening onto 1.5 speed so that I
Okay.
could make sure that I absorb them in a timely fashion by the time the next one comes out. But it's just insane. And then finally just kind of breaking free from it. I had like one layer of breaking free from it, which was just like by choice. And then the Spotify has really helped me a lot. I listen to, you know, less than probably 10% now of the ones, and it feels good. You know what I mean? Like I in some ways I miss it, but I'm like, you know, that was a thing, that was a phase.
It was
I'm
a
happy that it happened and it was enjoyable. But you know, over here, so we'll see with Tim Dillon. You know,
yeah.
could be a month, it could be a year. You never know. But
It yeah, no, I'm with you. Where yeah, I went and downloaded all of his archives, and I actually caught myself doing a tray. I was like, I want them all in order, and I was like, I'm gonna listen to them in order, and then I delete them when they're finished so I can go
you caught
through.
yourself being a psycho about some sort of OCD shit.
Yeah, and then I realized I was like, you know what? I choose a title that kind of looks funny, sounds like it might be funny, and when I'm finished, I just delete it. I'm like, you don't need to go through all of them, you fucking
Yeah,
psychopath.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I was gonna say I haven't listened to a single Rogan since it went off YouTube because I know he went to Spotify before it was entirely off YouTube. I haven't listened to a single one since he's went entirely off YouTube.
Yeah, there's some that I just would almost refuse not to listen to in the opposite way that I refuse to listen to all, or you know, I had to listen to them all at one point. So like, you know, if Duncan Trussell shows up or whoever
Yeah.
it is, right? Probably even like a Brendan Schaub or something, because I like them talking fights, and I like it when the the guest and the person are you know, kind of just gelling so easily. If you've done so many podcasts, sometimes, I mean, Rogan is a good interviewer, but there's
Mhm.
sometimes, you know, like a moment that could be a little awkward if it's some random doctor or some random, you know, you know, whatever it is. I don't know that he pulls the best out of them. I would choose maybe like more of a Lex Friedman or something like this for, you know, information as opposed to, you know, I just like the fun of the Rogan podcast.
Mhm.
That's what made me fall in love with it in the beginning, was just
Yeah.
being silly with Red Band. You know what I mean? So some
Yeah.
of the ones that are like that on Spotify, like a lot of comedians and stuff like that, I still feel like highly compelled to listen to those. But yeah, man, much less. And it's not that I have even that much extra time, which is fuck, because now I just listen to other shit. So it's not even like a great accomplishment that I weaned off of it. But
Yeah.
it is still just interesting to look back at your life and be like, no, for this pocket of time, like I was like
I
balls
just
deep in this one
inhaled.
thing.
I just
And it
yeah.
didn't have to persist. You know,
Yeah.
you can do
Yeah.
something.
Yeah, it's yeah, and this isn't some like stance I have where I'm like I'm morally against the Spotify. Cash the fuck out, dude. Go for it. More power to him. He's brilliant, man. He cashed out at the apex.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
brilliant. He doesn't give a fuck, dude. 100. He doesn't give a fuck. It's, but yeah, it's. I don't know. I think it really is just like accessibility. The fact that it's not in my feed. I'm just like, I have everything on this app. I'm not gonna open another one.
Yeah, there's something weird. The Spotify app, they need to up their game. It's honestly not as good. It's laggy. There's weird, like obvious mistakes, like it's showing the thumbnail of the wrong guest. Even just basic shit that pisses you off. The downloads are slow. The only thing really they have going for them, which I think is brilliant, which I don't know why like iTunes can't do this. Well, now they can't with Rogan, of course, but is having the video there with the feed, so
Hmm.
that switching between watching them and just listening to them is completely seamless,
Oh,
right?
that's
Like if you
cool.
want to pull the app up and like just basically watch the YouTube version, you can do it. Watch it like a
Okay.
little movie, and then you can just lock your phone, goes right back to audio. Somehow they
Okay.
figured that shit out, and they can't
That,
figure out
oh,
the fucking thumbnails and like basic shit like that. It's like, what are you guys doing? But that makes sense in some ways, that would
yeah.
have been a big selling point to do that. And another thing is just the ads. I was worried about intense adding for not having premium, and however he did it, I mean, he knows what's up. He's a brilliant guy. He blasts you with those same fucking ads in the beginning, and you can just skip right through them exactly like you could on, you know, iTunes. And then there's only something weird where like if you're kind of moving in and out in the app, they'll hit you with like a pop-up ad. It won't interrupt the podcast. It'll be like a, you know, like
Yeah.
a visual ad. So they did
Yeah.
find a way to only have the ads in the beginning. You can still skip them, and then they hit you with like, you know, a pop-up when you go back into the app if you're going between like other apps. So I was really pleased that he was able to manage to do that, because I wasn't sure. He didn't really talk about exactly the contract he had and you know what the deal with the ads was going to be. So there's some good things about it, you know, but
Do you ever find yourself like critiquing something and then you're like, I get this 100% for free?
sure.
And I'm like, fuck these ads. And I'm like, they are just delivering this like highly entertaining produced podcast where this guy is introducing this other interesting guy who flew out to Texas and they did this thing. And I'm like, how dare they put a 7-second ad for frozen dinners at the beginning of my, like, don't they know that they are to be court jesters that come visit me via my phone at the speed of light? Don't they know who I am? Don't they know my tax bracket? Like,
Right. Don't they know the time that I'm dealing? Like, don't
well,
they know my
yeah,
schedule? Yeah,
yeah,
I mean, it is embarrassing. I feel like everyone has that in them a little bit, and more so today than ever with social media, the voices of the masses kind of allowing you to feel like, you can complain about
yeah.
shit on Twitter, and maybe even someone might hear you, might listen to you. But I do think that's funny. Yeah, I mean, that's an old, you know, thing that's been known for forever, that like what's up with critics, right? You're a critic and then you haven't done the thing. Like, how can you be a movie critic if you haven't made a movie?
It's
It doesn't
just
make sense. How can you be a music critic if you're not an accomplished
right.
musician? You know what I mean?
It's
But
like it's the
we've been doing
motivation
that
of
for forever. You know, that's kind of the human way. Is just like monkey see, monkey shit on. You know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just
yeah, yeah. It's fuck
what we
that
do.
guy, and it's
Yeah,
like, but he's not even. It's like fuck him. His
yeah,
podcast. Why don't you start one? Shut up. That guy sucks. Tom Brady should be doing this. And it's like, dude, you can't run 30 yards without vomiting. And it's like,
yeah.
I don't care. It's Trey. I gotta pee real quick. I'll be right back.
Do it, bro.
Tell them where to find your channel. Major
Yeah,
third.
everyone, go listen to my music. It's it could desperately need it, could desperately use the views. I have maybe, how many songs do I have? Something like 12 songs, something like this on YouTube. The YouTube channel is Major Third Hip Hop. That's some music I made a little more than a year ago. They're all covers. I did not tell the people what cover songs they were, possibly regrettably. But you know, Renegade, Eminem, and Jay-Z. If you like that song, got some Nappy Roots on there. Mystical, I'm all over the place. Fergie, that song Havana with Camilla. You know, so I went the way of the old mixtape route, covered a bunch of songs, wrote a bunch of new songs. Major Third Hip Hop on YouTube and Major.Third on Instagram.
What are your plans with Major? Like, what is your? Are you gonna stay in Hawaii? Are you gonna? Did my camera just get fuzzy a little bit? Whatever.
It's
Not
the
important.
when you change the perspective when you leave, right?
Probably. Whatever. Um.
I
What
don't
are
know,
you?
man. I would like to think that if I had big plans, maybe I could do bigger things. I'm much more of a ride the wave guy, which I don't know that I like admitting that. I would like to. Another thing that I found inspiring about your podcast was that some of it was just kind of, you know, staying on the grind and hard work, but other parts that you talk about were sort of strategically orchestrated. So things like this, I don't know, man. I mean, again, the debt. It's. I like to tell myself that if I was an old grandpa with millions of dollars, there's no doubt in my mind that like quantum mechanics and fucking pure mathematics and all these things and all these things that I study would still be something I was into, because I did finally make it over the wall of just really, you know, having a hard on for that, really just enjoying it as much as I enjoy maybe music or movies or something like this. So if that's the case, then the time, you know, why not now? You know, it's a little weaker version of the Ed advice, but with all the debt, it's like you're going down this hole of, you know, you started school, you started racking up debt, you like school, you enjoy being in school, you're good in school, you like what you're studying, and so even if ultimately I could just do one other thing. I probably would try to push harder for the rap thing, but it is a little bit like I'm straddling the fence. Maybe someone would say that's the problem, bro. It'll never work until you go balls deep. But you know, this is a thing that I want to get to the end to, and I maybe only have 2 or 3 years left, and then I have a PhD attached to my name for the rest of my life. You know what I mean? So I vacillate. We had another discussion about vacillation. I go back and forth of like, man, you're never gonna get serious about this shit, but I am very serious about it. And like I said, you were doing the time will pass thing, and it's funny. One of the few things in my life that I can actually say I've at least somewhat mastered the time will pass is writing raps. Right from the time I was in grad school the first time, 2 years of grad school, I wrote something like 25, 26 songs. And I probably should have been studying a lot more math if I really wanted to make it happen. But I was even more serious about it back then because I wasn't as serious about math. Then I essentially took 2 years off when I moved to Hawaii and I was teaching. I wrote almost nothing. I wrote maybe like 2 or 3 songs for 2 years. Then when I came here, switched islands, right? I was like, yeah, that was fucked up. I wrote 25 songs in 2 years at Florida State. I couldn't write fucking 5 or like, you know, some incredibly low number. So got back on the train, right? Forcing myself. Again, I enjoy it. It's not even forcing. Pick out the minimum amount you want to do. I said 1 a month. Okay, if I can pin one elaborate song a month, not just like some bars kind of strewn together, but one start to finish concept song that I could perform for you and have it try to seem impressive. And that's what I've been doing for 2 years now. So another 25 slapped on from the last couple of years of being here. So yeah, I don't know, man. I don't know the best strategy. I know maybe this not the time, but I do think that it was cool of you to plug me to our mutual friend, you know, that hit me up the other day. Yeah, I'm just into making the good music, and I know there's this whole other side to like, you know, what's your brand, like what's your social media presence, what's your strategy, what's your release strategy, what's your blah blah blah, and you know, I can care about that only as much as I can. And it's funny because it's not like I'm not a slut about it. That's the thing that really drives me inside. It's like, do you think I'm not a whore? Do you think I wouldn't do? Do you think if you could show me what I was supposed to do that I wouldn't do it because it would help me be successful? I would do it. I just can't even see through the fog. I can't even like go on Instagram and feel good about,
Yeah.
you know, whatever it is, follow for follow or like this clickbaity shit or whatever it is. Like I'm so just like,
I hate
not
it.
into it myself that I struggle with figuring out. And I hope that one day I will figure it out. You know what I mean? Find the sweet spot of like the right thing to do, the right strategies to implement, the right type of posts to post, the right things. But it's just been a big experiment so far. And like I was telling the people here, you know, I only have maybe 12 songs out or something, and they're all stolen beats. So in some sense, I've began my journey and I have been working on it a lot. I've written, you know, 70, 80 songs, something like this, but I haven't even really taken that next step of trying to put together a body of work and have it be original production and potentially have it be monetized for that reason. So that's no real plan other than that's my plan. I think there's something there. I like to imagine if I heard someone doing like what I'm doing, I would like it, right? They say like make your art for you, sort of, you know what I mean? Like when I hear what's out there, when I hear what's on the radio, a lot of it I don't enjoy, and I have fun writing it. And I think that if I heard a song similar, I would be like, oh, this shit is fire, and I would get into it. So that's all I'm hoping for, and you know, just trying to figure that out while also fucking having 30 hours a week of a job and also while doing classes. So yeah, man, I don't know. It's a long answer of saying I don't really know, but I do hope that it happens. And I appreciate all the support you give, and the way you do your thing is inspiring along those same lines where I don't want to give up. I can get super down on myself if I'm in the right mindset about like, oh, you're old.
What are you doing?
But at the same time, if I'm in the right mood, maybe I have like just a little bit of a whiskey or something, a little drink, and I would like, you know, read some of my lyrics or raps. And I'm like, that shit was fire, bro.
That was good.
That was incredible. That was really clever.
Yeah.
You know? So I do both.
It's okay to jack yourself up sometimes, man.
Yeah.
Like I'll get down too, because it's like I want this to be working faster. But like, what's today? Wednesday, Tuesday? On Thursday, for the second time, I interviewed Charlie Duke, who walked on the moon. And I'm just like, sometimes I'm like, hey, he walked on the fucking moon.
Talking to a moon man, bro.
I'm like, for a second time. And I'm just like, hey, I'm like, be proud of that.
That means he didn't hate me.
Yeah, he came back. He didn't get a restraining order. Like, I'm like, okay, you know, it's. I mean, I can show you.
Do you wish you could live in the middle though? Sometimes I do. Is it better to be this like vacillating because the lows energize you in a weird way and the highs also energize you, or would it be better just to like be more even keeled, live in the middle?
I would say even because I'd say for before the podcast, when I was like fucking with graphic design for a couple years, there would be these crippling lows, and they would you'd kind of rise like a phoenix out of them.
Right.
But after so many cycles of it, you're like, oh, like that's not the purpose, is to continue to rise like a phoenix. It's like it's good that you can, but you don't always want to be coming back. Just because you can fall off just because you're trying to climb out of a well and you keep falling down and getting up, that's great. You keep getting up, but the point's to get out of the well, right?
Right. Right.
Otherwise, it's just sure it's inspiring, but like it's Anthony Kiedis said it in Scar Tissue. He talked about like getting sober and going to like rehab. And he was like, what I realized after my like 5th rehab trip is you can start getting addicted to the process of recovery. The whole I'm at rock bottom. It's time to acknowledge my faults. Just you're completely on your hands and knees and you're like, I need to fix myself. You're super humble. You're open to everyone. I'm sorry for hurting you. It's time to get better. It's just that beautiful like white light of like a clean, control T, your new document.
Mm-hmm.
That itself can get addicting because you start to get to a point where when everything's fucked up, let's just nosedive it, start fresh.
Yep.
And it's good that you can always start fresh. Like that's better than just nosediving and quitting.
Right.
However, it's some people take the MCAT 4 years in a row and then they finally get in. Mm-hmm. It's very admirable to keep getting up despite getting punched in the face. Mm-hmm. The goal is not to take the MCAT every year for the rest of your life. It's to get into med school and go become a doctor.
Right.
I have found that from July through October, maybe June through October of 2020, I worked at the liquor store, and that kind of brought the podcast to a head because it was like I was doing that. I was also taking I had been taking graphic design courses the entire time I was doing the podcast. Then I was at the liquor store, and I was just trying to do all these things and press them all together. And I would have, once or twice a week, just these moments of just despair. Fuck this. I'm a fat fuck. I live in my parents' house. Like, I'm never going to get abs back. I'm never going to be successful. This sucks. And then you go to sleep just wallowing in self-pity. And you wake up and you force yourself to go to the gym. And then you come home and you make your bed and you shave and you clean your vanity. And you're like, hey, it's a new day. You're like, let's do this shit. And that's those are invaluable lessons at getting up again and again. It's one thing to keep going. It's another thing to get shut down and then keep going. It's another thing to do that 10, 20, 50 times. You start to build this resilience. However, when I finally sort of got like my first payment and I quit my job at the liquor store and I just started doing this podcast, admittedly, there haven't been as many days of just like, today we climb Mount Olympus, I'm taking down Rogan tonight.
Right.
Which is weird because I love Rogan, but like, you know what I mean? And, yes. But what I have found are when I have less lows and admittedly less highs,
yeah,
what I do have instead is this middle line. And that middle line, not sexy, no phoenix rising, no skyrocket, no face down plummeting. But what it is it's the chalk on the skateboard going down the hill.
I was just about to say, yeah.
I just hold it and I hold it, and now it's October, November, December, January, February. Ba 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 ba. No, not as sexy, not as rocky music, not as sad songs sitting in the rain by yourself.
Yeah.
But what there is like a slow moving confidence. It's a glacier. It's not sexy. It's not a Randall Carlson tidal wave.
Yes.
It's a glacier, but it's just grinding down mountains. It's moving very slowly.
Right.
But there's a confidence in like I'm moving slowly, but unstoppably.
And now that we're saying it like this, that actually connects with me in a way that maybe that's why I connected with what you're saying, like for people like us who do vacillate, maybe that's where the fourth dimensional ethic really comes in. Maybe someone who is already more in the middle would have watched it and said like it was pretty good, but like for me, yeah, it's like if you vacillate, this is the key. This is a way to bring it together, to center yourself. Because instead of pumping yourself up for these moments where you're swinging between these highs and lows, and there's like all this like epic buildup to it, it's just like, no, baby steps, bitch. Just baby steps all day. Like, you know, you can't be too down if all you got to do is a baby step. What are you talking about? You can't do a fucking baby step. And then you can't be too up on it either, because you're like, no, don't even let yourself. Like, but I can do 1,000 baby steps. Like, why would you do that? You know, just fucking baby steps. So it really is like, in that sense, I wasn't even thinking about it as a middling process. I was just thinking about it as good advice. But tying it to that vacillation that we're both openly admitting that we deal with, that actually makes a lot of sense to me.
Yeah, I mean, hey, the highs and the lows are attractive. They're sexy. They're romantic. They're idyllic. You go into the gutter, and that's when you just create like soulful work, whatever, the graphic design or rapping or a podcast. But it's like you can't, you know, it's like a plane. Like you take off, and it's you get stuck into your seat, ears pop. And then there's the landing of you're coming down, you're looking at the trees, you're looking at the, and the engines go in reverse. And but those two things are barely visible fractions in the pie chart of the flight. The majority of the flight is just
it doesn't feel like you're moving at all.
You just, you know, you get your headphones.
You're going like hundreds of, I don't even know, thousands of miles an hour, right? You could be juggling on the plane. No effect. Nothing's happening.
400, 500, 600 miles an hour, and you, excuse me, yep, just gotta go to the bathroom. Sorry about that. You know, you go in there, and toilet's really loud, and you go back to your seat, and you're looking out the window, and you're just going 2 times faster than the fastest the Bugatti has ever gone.
Right.
The Bugatti went 304 miles an hour on like the fucking ring in Germany, the straightaway.
Yeah.
You're going twice that fast, and you're just in like an economy seat.
Yeah.
But that is how you traverse these insane distances.
Right.
And it's not sexy. It's not the fighter jet popping flares and you're pulling 12 Gs and firing a Sidewinder missile, and it's fucking Cold War. You're Tom Cruise and you're fighting the Ruskies. Like, that stuff's fun and all, and it makes for a great backstory. But like, dude, it can't always be that. And furthermore, what I would say is like, on the surface, it can seem like it's a maturity, moving away from the vacillation. Like, I'm not all about the highs and the lows anymore. I like the middle ground.
Yeah.
When in reality, that's not true at all. I'm as addicted to the highs as I've ever been. But what I'm doing is, instead of high, low, it's like there's a road, and you can constantly fall into the ditch. And we'll say it's like a 2-foot deep ditch, right? A formidable ditch. You wouldn't want to crash in it. You fall down, and you can climb back up those 2 feet, and you're back on the road. And that's a high, low. I'm staying in the middle of the road, and it may look like, man, but don't you miss the highs and lows? Yes. But if you zoom out, you see that the middle road I'm on is actually going up a fucking mountain. And it's like, dude, I'm getting a high that I've never had before. It just takes a little bit. And
that's a good point. That it's not sacrificing the
no.
It feels like you aren't throttling it, so you're missing out on those times where you're really gunning it. But by just slow and steady wins the racing it, you know what I mean? You're in the middle of the road, and you've got that shit on cruise control, and you're like, you know, you want it to feel like you're asleep at the wheel in some sense, because that's what makes it easy. That's what makes it doable. That's what makes it achievable.
Yes.
But
Get lost.
That's what gives you all this momentum, where you're just able to handle it, and you just do it like, this ain't no thing. Yeah, fucking do 100 push-ups a day, whatever it is, bro. I just fucking do that shit. You know what I mean? It's not like, you know, oh, I can do it. You're allowing it to control you, even when it's a positive thing, right? You're giving it all this gravitas, and it makes it like, and that's what makes it so sad when you drop it, and can set you back, like you spoke to, right? Yeah, man, I'm super into it. I honestly was like completely compelled. I was like, he crushed it. He's hitting on something.
Make it boring.
Yeah, make it boring. I think you said that. Yeah, make it boring.
Last week I tried to make it sexy. I was like, 3 episodes a day, pound them out. Now I'm like, gonna have Trey on. We're gonna talk for a bit. Sure, I'd love to be like, I'm gonna take some Ritalin. I'm gonna do another episode. No, I'm gonna edit this. I'm gonna upload it. I'm gonna run to the grocery store. I'm gonna play some Hitman 3. Great game.
Great game.
Gonna go to bed. I'm gonna wake up and I'm gonna do it. But that means tomorrow you'll only be at 346. Correct.
Good.
Well, that means after a week you're only gonna be at 353. Correct. But now TPC episode 601.
Right.
Huh.
Oh, it worked. Yeah.
How'd that happen? One day I hope this podcast makes money, but for now I'm at a liquor store. I'm going this weekend to work out I am going this weekend to like finalize my contract. And it's like,
Fuck yeah, bro.
it's like, that's here. Man, I can't wait till the podcast makes money so I can spend money on making the podcast better. This is the 46th episode with the new camera, the backdrop, the lighting, the microphone. You're like, oh, it's
Yo,
it's
I like
here.
that sweatshirt too, bro. Can you do a little model for me? Is that Aliens?
Yeah, I made this.
You made it, bro?
Yeah.
Oh,
It's
crushing it.
Hey, link will be in the description. It's I put up I made this like 2 years ago. It's
That's sick, man.
it's yeah, it's Gray Alien. It's and then Bob Lazar.
Oh wow. That's
Yeah.
really fucking cool, dude.
And it's got all these blueprints of like they're like jet engines and like dam turbines, but they all kind of look like alien shit. Right? That's like a jet engine. I don't know. I think that's actually a cross section of like a flower, but it kind of looks like some weird Tony Stark arc reactor.
Cool. It's honestly next level. I would have not have guessed that you made it, so I'm impressed.
Yeah. And then the pocket is a scan of the 1947 newspaper, Roswell.
God. Come on, bro.
And the wrists are too.
Come on, people.
Yeah, and I made a new one. It's uploaded on the store, but the inside is also the newspaper. Hold on, stay right here. Yeah, I bought a couple of them that because I was doing graphic design for a couple of years, man, and I just couldn't get it to work. And then I realized kind of the time will pass thing, and it was like, well, hey, I put all that time into these designs, like might as well upload them to the store. So I reopened the Shopify store. No one's bought anything yet, but I figured, hey, I made these. This was a simple one. It's the A10 Warthog instead of Run JRE, right? It's, if you don't know anything about planes, it won't be for you. This is another simple one I made. It's just the thought thickens instead of the plot thickens. I made this one, this like psychedelic Pharaoh shit.
Ooh, that's pretty sick, bro. That's some tool shit right there.
Yeah, and it's just, there's like thousands of little pharaohs. I don't know, I think this one's probably my favorite work. But this one, as a JRE fan, you'll like this one. So someone took this Alex Jones rant. Yeah. And it's like the best part of his rant on like not episode 9/11, but the second one where he went on.
Yeah.
He goes on this one rant at one part of it. It might have been episode. I know actually it was episode 9/11. It's where he starts and he's like, the elite are all about transcendence. And he goes on this long thing and someone took it and put it to this like weird music. It's like 3 minutes long on YouTube. I'll find it. But I just think it's the funniest rant because it just keeps panning back to Rogan and he's like, they're just high staring at him. And Alex is like, it's an off-world alien entity, and it's artificial intelligence. And what it's doing is it's seeping up from the second dimension to the third dimension. And there's all this evil and free will, and scientists are saying it now. The physicists are showing that the dark matter is bleeding through the seams of the. It's a false projection, Joe. It's not real. It's a hologram, but it's a trick because with this off-world entity, the fallen, Satan, what he's doing is he's coming up to take away your preciousness, but actually it's a test. And it's just going on just like, it's Alex Jones just perfect.
Yeah.
And then he did it. Yeah. And then he did it a second time. The second time he was on the Alex Jones return, he went on an even crazier one, talking about interdimensional demons and psychic vampires and the pedophile goblins. And like,
yeah, I remember that.
And I was like, these sound like the ravings of either an insane man, or a man that isn't smart in the way Elon Musk is smart, and that he's like, we're going to have self-landing rockets and it takes 20 years to come to fruition, but rather a Da Vinci smart, where he's like, we will have flying machines. And it wasn't for 500 years before we were like, oh shit, he was right. Like, I was like, if Alex Jones is right, if it won't be in 2040, it'll be in like 2550.
Sure.
And then so it got me thinking about Da Vinci. So I took the Vitruvian Man. He was got like the arms and the legs.
Classic. Yeah.
I took it out and I put Alex Jones's face on it, and then I like scanned the parchment, and I like found like a similar font to Da Vinci's writing,
Yeah.
and I made it look like scribblings, like chicken scratches.
Oh my God, bro.
But if you go in and read it,
It's his rant.
it's his back-to-back rants. Merge with machines, transcend the failed species that is man.
That's brilliant, bro.
Google was set up to fight the free will of the future. It's just so it's Alex Jones. Yeah. And
I can't lie. That's like there's a niche market that
I don't give a shit if any dude. I printed these for me. I wasn't like this is the new business venture. These were for me.
Yeah, no, that's fucking brilliant, man. I love it.
The insides of the hoodie, it's more of the writing. But the big secret is once you have a crystal ball and know how the future works, the free will of individual. It's all his words, and it's just yeah.
I guess what's interesting to me is like I would be able to easily understand how you did the first maybe 2 or even 3 you showed me, but that one and the one you have on seem like they require such more
They were
like
a lot of work.
yeah, such more blueprinting than like, oh yeah, like the front of the shirt has like this and then the back has like that. Those both have a full coverage where like I can't even really wrap my head around like how much collaboration you would need or could you map it all yourself or like how does that work?
So yeah, those other ones like the Thought Thickens and the 810, those are I whipped those up in like 5 minutes a couple of years ago. I did another one where it was just at CIA 9/11. It's just some simple kind of those were more so like proof of concept ones.
Yeah.
The Pharaoh one.
That one's interesting, but it still could be a pattern sort of where I could still believe that it's
what I
just
did with that is I cut out King Tut's head perfectly, went in and got like an 8K image, and then I was like, what if I just kind of mirrored it? I made a line, then I made a cross, and then I was like, wait, let's make a circle. And then I took that and I started kind of fitting together like puzzle pieces. Yeah. And then I started fucking around with the colors and I turned into this weird psychedelic orange. Yeah. I was like, that's cool. This one, well, with Alex Jones, that one started as it was just him. I was like the Vitruvian parchment. And then I was like, oh, I was looking at like Da Vinci's scribblings and I was like, I should make like some Alex Jones scribblings. And then I was like, wait. So I went in and I like went to YouTube and like it wasn't giving me the transcript correctly. So I remember this took like 2 mornings before work, summer 2019, I think. I would just play it, back up 5 seconds. I'd be like, the elite are all about, and I just typed it out. Took it, found the right font. And with that, it was a lot of playing with. It wasn't that one and this one. These are more like solo rants. I'm not like those other ones are like interviewing people. I read their book and I know what we're talking about. These are more of like, I just started and I was like, where are we going?
But that's what I think those are really cool. Like those are definitely my 2 favorites. So
yeah,
because that kind of comes across, you know?
Yeah. Like that. So that one is, the original was like, this is sort of like the color of like the parchment of like Da Vinci's parchment. Yeah. And I was like, man, it looks too much kind of like flesh. And I was like, I don't want like a whole hoodie that. So what I did is I just kind of made a negative of it. And it came out this weird gold black. And I was like, that's where it's at. Yeah. And I played around with it. And what it is just it's an 8K by 8K image. And so I went on and I like put it onto like the sleeves and everything. And I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. This one started, it was originally, it was like, it first started out with like, it was just JFK. I can go back in my photo library and actually find the progression. It was a picture of JFK with sunglasses on, and it was like his reflection. And at first I like removed the reflection and I put in a UFO, and I was like, that's why JFK was assassinated. Right. And then I was like, I wanted to make it into like a snowboard design. So it was like a rectangle. And like, because I was applying to snowboarding companies to do graphic design for, like, this is how long ago it was. And then I was like, well, I need Bob Lazar on there. And then I was like, what if I just did opposite ends of I did Bob Lazar on one end and a gray alien on the other. And I was like, I had this like image in my mind. I'm like, I want it to look like blueprints. So I found like the exact blue. And then I found all these just like pictures of shit. And they were like, just a lot of them were just like old declassified jet engines from the 50s, but like they looked really intricate. So I turned them into these weird vectors and I overlaid it onto blue. The actual design is this is from my elbow to my wrist is like that. I can't really, I'm trying to.
That's like the full big thing, and it's just
Yeah, it's just fuck. It's hard because the video is mirrored, but it really is. So on this end you have the alien,
yeah,
and on this end you'd have Bob Lazard's head,
yeah.
and so it's just alien Bob Lazar with a bunch of weird things because I wanted it to be a snowboard, so it's just a rectangle.
Oh, I see.
And then I was like, but if I want it on this, so on
Yeah,
Shopify you can control the image for the sleeves, the front, the back, the hood, the cuffs. There's like a bunch of different like places.
sure.
And so yeah, I just pulled it around and I was like, I want random things on random spots. And like, yeah, it's just yeah, it just was a lot of fucking kind of I didn't know what it was gonna be until it was over. And then even then, it just sat on my iPad for like 2 years. And I was like, that would kind of be a cool hoodie.
Yeah, man, it's
And
super sick. I mean,
sorry, I know I've just been like talking your ear off the last 20
no,
minutes
man,
about this shit.
I was the one who brought it up. I was interested. Like I said, I was secretly like staring at it subconsciously the whole time, and I would have not have guessed.
Yeah,
I would
dude.
have thought. I mean, now that you say the story, it makes sense. I would have just thought it was like something you saw, and you were like, "Oh, I have to have this." It's like Bob Lazar and aliens. Like this is right up my alley. You know what I mean? So the fact that you made it is even cooler. You know?
Yeah, it is kind of badass. There's another one I wanted to print. It's Snoop Dogg and he's doing like the French inhale,
Yes.
but I just like I turned the image into like a stencil and then I put the stencil over like over Fruit Loops and it
Yeah.
just says Snoop Loops and it's just him and the cuffs are like Fruit Loops and shit, but I can't bring myself to print it out cuz I don't think it's that great. There's another one that
You're workshopping it, bro. It's
yeah,
cool.
there's another one that I put a ton of work into again from a couple of years ago. And I made like a 2001. That's how I was trying to get these snowboard companies to hire me, because I would
Right.
just make shit based on them. And I made one like one of the companies is called Capita, and they had their own like weird kind of psychedelic like business motto or whatever. And so what I did is I made a snowboard that kind of looked like the monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey,
Hmm.
and the bottom is like an ape, and it's like this it's like jaws are showing and it's like screaming. You can see all like the hair. It's just like perfect like 8K image and it's like drools flying out of its mouth and it just looks like primitive rage. And then in the background are all these vertical DNA strands kind of rising behind it. And then if you go and look at like the actual like symbols and beneath in between them, I found the cuneiform alphabet, the first written language,
Hmm.
and I actually translated into the cuneiform symbols, like Capita Snowboarding founded in their mission statement, their motto, where they're headquartered, but you can't tell because it's all, but I want it to be like the rise of man. And then as it goes up, the cuneiform starts turning into like hieroglyphics of like a boat, a tool, a paddle, kind of. And then they all start rising, they all start fading into like black. And then it turns to like a couple like stars and then it starts to turn black again, and then the entire like top half is just black with like HAL 9000 at the top, like the red dot. And I think I'm gonna. That's the same format I made for this hoodie. So I figured if that transferred to this, I might make a. I
Yeah,
might
that
turn that
sounds
one
cool
into a
stuff,
hoodie.
bro.
Yeah,
That's sick.
yeah, man. Sorry, I know I'm just talking your ear off right
No,
now about
that's
my
cool. I might
hoodies.
need to hit you up for some artwork one of these days. Hopefully, I can, have something where that's something I would need. Like I said, what the
Fuck
original
yeah.
production, because I stole the beats for the first stuff I put out. I just screen grabbed shit from movies,
Who gives a
which was
shit?
still really fun,
Who gives
and
a shit?
tied it to the song somehow. Like Jessica Simpson's for "Body Unbelievable."
Yeah.
But I was like, "Why? I'm not gonna like pay or like
No,
invest in
fuck
doing
that.
this if I can't even monetize the songs." And it kind of ties it together to this mixtapey, at home studio feel. But yeah, I mean, did a couple this last Christmas, and I'm hoping to do more. So I think your shit is sick, bro. That could be cool.
Thank you. Yeah, man. I just figured why not. It's pretty. I like it. I'm very proud of them. They're weird as fuck. Um, they're legitimately the nicest hoodies I've ever worn. I wear them during like every episode now.
Yeah,
But
why not?
yeah, man. I don't know. It's all gonna work. I don't know how. It's all gonna work out. It's one last thing, and then we'll wrap this bitch up. Um, is so I graph like my growth on the podcast.
Right.
What is disillusioning and demoralizing is I right around the election. Actually, I think the day of the election, I stopped getting new subscribers. And that went on for about a month. I
The
did a
day of this last presidential election.
November 3rd. And then I did a live stream with a guy, Don the Pleb. He's a Marine with a channel. He's got like 10,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
And he like live streamed an episode for me. So it kind of like dumped some subscribers, but that was like direct from his and him saying, hey, go subscribe to Tommy.
Yeah.
But aside from that, it went right back to plateauing. So you can see from December 2019 on, fuck, it's mirrored. So on this end,
Yes.
all the way, you can see this past fall, I finally started to get that vertical. I was like, here we fucking go. The podcast is taking off. You can see November 3rd, it goes horizontal.
Yeah, two big plateaus. That's interesting. I wonder.
Plateau. The vertical spike is from when Don the Pleb did his live stream.
Yes.
But so aside from that, so if you just take out that live stream, it's been horizontal since then. And
Yes.
that's demoralizing. That's depressing because it's like, dude, I'm having on these guys. Like, I had on a guy that was like with the State Department, like during Benghazi, like worked at
Yeah.
the embassies. I've had on a guy that's walked on the moon twice. I had on Rob Manning, who's in charge of the Mars rovers. Like, yeah,
You don't feel like you're anything different from that place where it's going fast either, right?
no, it's
Yeah, that's interesting. I mean, just to make you feel better, the two immediate things. I mean, there just could be some natural, stagnation before more growth, or maybe it's that you're almost having too many cool people,
I hope, man.
and they're getting hidden in some sense. You know what I mean? Like each individual cool people. Because you honestly, if you just wrote your like top 10, it would astound someone. If you're like, hey, I just like, you know what I mean? Like if you just wrote
Yeah.
out the 10 craziest guys you had, Black Hawk Down guy, man who walks on the moon, whatever it is, right?
Yeah.
That's so astounding that I feel like for a podcast that was even further along than you, those 10 would be like somehow like pushed in a way. And again, I've never got that vibe from you of like over to marketing or like pushing it in your face or rubbing your nose in it. So, I mean, that would be just another thing that I would say is like, that's actually a positive, that like the fact that you've gotten so many cool people that you're like, oh yeah, I forgot that I like talk, you can almost like forget about someone that someone else would be incredibly stoked to have, you know what I mean? So
yeah, it's demoralizing because I have on guests that I had on a guy, fuck, I forget his name. Aaron Clary. He's kind of like a Tucker Max kind of guy. Does like asshole consulting. He's this really funny dude. I think he's probably like 10 years older than us. He came on like right after Christmas, and he came on. He reminds me a lot of Bill Burr, and and he's got like a huge following on. And he came on. And he goes, real quick question for you, Tom. He goes, how the fuck do you not have more subscribers? He goes, you talked to a guy on the moon. And he goes, a lot of people ask me to be on their podcast. And I look at it and it's got like 3 episodes. And I'm like, fuck this kid. And he goes, you emailed me because someone commented, Tommy, you should have on this guy. So I emailed him.
yeah.
He's like, I looked at it and my first thought was like, man, fuck this Tommy guy. And he goes, and I opened it up and I was like, kid's got 300 episodes. Fuck yeah, I'll do your show. But he came on, and even after he emailed me, he was like, what are you doing that you don't have like more people than me? And I was like, actually, I was wearing the Thought Thickens sweatshirt, and I was like, the plot thickens, and plugged in my sweatshirt. But like, I don't know. I think it's still gonna work. Sometimes I'm like, am I reading my own press reports? Do I think I'm hot shit?
I've got big faith, man, honestly. Like from the outside in, I really think that someone could be like, what is he doing or whatever. But like, again, if they knew nothing about it, had never seen an episode, and you just like, I'm telling you, this should be a thing, right? If you wrote down the 10, 15, 20, whatever the number is, these people, that's that same response that guy had, right? It's undeniable. There's something about it that's completely undeniable, that just with your own fucking fingers, if you think about it, your own fucking fingers and your computer just cold called these people. And how many people can say, oh, I've interviewed someone who walked on the fucking moon? Basically zero. So when you go through these numbers, this upper echelon of, and then that's just the upper echelon. There's lots of other amazing guests that you've had that are incredible, but just even that alone, I really don't see how anyone could have a negative, well, again, other than you, because you're in it, but like someone even just approaching it dry, fresh, like I don't see how they could see some of the people that you've had, just like how that guy was saying, and not be like just completely impressed and like dumbfounded that you know, just again, your fingers. Like, what did you do? You it's so amazing the stuff that we can do with technology. You know what I mean? You're just a guy in his parents' garage. You know what I mean? You just made it happen. That's the true dream. That's the true startup fantasy of, you know, just making it happen and slow growth. So I wouldn't be too worried about those plateaus, bro. I think you got it. I have faith in you. Like I
Thanks,
said, I
man.
went from skeptical to like a fucking diehard believer. Like
Join my
just from
cult.
one solo pod, I was like, dude, this guy, he totally just like nailed something. It's like, you know, I feel changed after this 1 hour, 15-minute inspirational
man.
video, you know? So
Fuck
I
yeah.
think you got something, bro.
I think it's gonna work. Yeah, and I do have an idea. We'll wrap this up, but I do have an idea of like the fourth dimensional one, where I was kind of doing like this at the end. I was like, you know, start the podcast, like break 100 episodes, and it's just I keep thinking it's gonna take forever, and then I'm here.
Yeah.
I kind of have this image in my mind of like when the podcast fully breaks, and I just get some dope mansion somewhere with like a Bugatti in the driveway.
Hey,
And the last,
that's a lot. But you already were telling me the you know the new deal coming up. I already think that's incredible, man. Again, someone just looking in, if you just wrote those things down on a paper, your favorite guests and the deal you're getting, like I don't even see how someone could begin to try to, but like he doesn't have enough subscribers. It's like I don't even see how that they could even feign taking that stance. You know what I mean? I mean, truly.
yeah, I hope. But what I want is I want the last image to be I just want to get like a selfie from like a drone and just snap in front of a mansion with like a fleet of Lambos. And I'm just going to edit it together with that video and just be like, fucking join my shitty program. Work hard.
Hey,
Fuck
I'll
you.
pump you up, bro. Anytime you need me, bro, I'm here.
Trey, when I get rich, I'll just sign you and you can just put out, I will
Hey, that
just
sounds good to me, bro.
fucking sounds good. It sounds like a plan to me. And yeah, none of that Gary Vaynerchuk. Say something real, Gary.
You're about to be burned alive.
You're about to be burned to death. Hustle. Woof. It's fuck yeah, man. If Tim Dillon can do it. Actually, that might not be a good analogy because he's brilliant. I don't want to compare myself to him.
Even he speaks to starting late and, you know, not buying in early. So by the very nature of you building it from the ground up and being dedicated and, you know, at every point you're going to feel like, oh, now I'm only getting just now started. I mean, that's the sign of something working, is it always feels like this is only the beginning, bitch. You know what I mean? And you're just going to continue to have that. And I feel like you're pushing through, like you were saying, reaching that point where this is only the beginning, and, you know, good things will come, bro. I have faith.
Fuck yeah, man. I appreciate it. Trey, as always, it's a pleasure, man. And I'll put your YouTube channel and text me your YouTube and your Instagram just so I can copy and paste them, and I'll put them in the description. Sticking the top comment. Go check out Trey. His raps are fantastic. If they're not, tell him as much. Go comment on them. Be like,
Yeah,
you
say
suck.
mean things.
Say
That would
brutal
probably
things.
help secretly.
So, say get on an anonymous account. Just go take out your anger of your day. You had a bad day, go take it out on Trey.
Yeah.
It will cause him to grow more as a rapper.
Yeah.
Trey, I love you, buddy. Thanks for coming on, man.
That was fun as fuck.
Yeah, buddy. You as well. Stay safe. God bless everybody. Major Third. Go check it out. Body Unbelievable. Or Man of the Hour. I think that's your best. I think that's your most talented work. All right, man. I'll see you, buddy.
Yep. Later, man.